Nature threw us a curveball. A disastrous ice storm sent our area into a state of emergency. And 8 weeks later, we're still cleaning up. And knocked out the power for over 2 weeks, flooded so many homes, turned our road into a trail, and made regular tasks tough. But we were prepared with the right tools. To survival, and even preparing for the next one. Because around here, nothing goes to waste. We plan to use everything we can, and I'll show you how. I'm a huge believer of learning and doing everything ourselves. And on a homestead, knowledge is power. That's why I want to share with you the tools that make our self-sufficient life easy and may help you out in the future. Let's start with my favorite tool, the wood chipper. It makes super beautiful chippings and mulch, which I have a ton of uses for. My favorite is using it as a bedding for the chicken run, and the chickens absolutely love it. It gives them something to do, and honestly, the best part is the collection bag. And if this bag looks fairly new and unused, there's a huge catastrophic reason for that, where I made a big mistake. I'll share that later. We've had the chipper shredder for about 4 months now, and I've got a ton of use out of it cleaning up the property. I love the size of it because it has a small footprint, and it actually is such a beast for what it can do. This is the chipper section. It can take up to 3-inch diameter trees right through there. And then this is the shredder hopper. So you can throw in all of your leaves and branches, whatever. And as you saw, it's super easy to roll around. And then the collection bag just attaches like this, and that way you can quickly empty. But enough talk, let's put it to use. By the way, it is so hot today. It's about 33 degrees, about 95 degrees Fahrenheit for my American friends. I'm doing my best. All right, this is the final area that I need to clean up. Can you believe we've been cleaning up since April, actively almost every single weekend? You probably don't believe it right now, but this chipper shredder will do this entire limb once I lop these off. Let's start her up. Watch this. Well, just from the little bit I showed you, that puppy roasts through those trees, and I mean, look at what it has made. That's beautiful. The main reason I love this thing is because of the byproduct it makes of all the chippings and shavings. I have so many uses, from the trails to the chicken coop to garden beds, but also the quality it makes of cleanup. It turns large branches into nothing, and at times when you can't do any burning, which is like right now, as you can't tell how hot I am, you can't burn anything, and that's a big deal. So having something like this, make sure you can continue your cleanup game. My favorite part of this is how easy the collection bag makes it. And earlier I mentioned that this is a newer bag, and there's a reason for that, because I made a big mistake. About a month ago, I had brought this out to use it, and I normally keep the collection bag right here. I only keep it there for storage, but I had accidentally knocked it in, and I'm sure you can guess what happened. I didn't really notice, and I had started the machine to warm it up, and I forgot. It shook it in and sucked it right into the shredder. And I thought, oh my God, I am such an idiot. But luckily for me, Champion is built different. It sucked it in, it shut off the motor, and all I had to do was take off the rear cover just in case anything ever clogs. I pulled it out. I started the machine right up again. Absolutely no problems. But I did make the mistake of ruining my favorite part, which is the collection bag. So I reached out to Champion customer service. I said, hey, I made a big mistake. And they said, no problem, I got you. That's why I reached out to Champion to be the sponsor of today's video. I've been using them for over 15 years. I have 4 of their products, and they just keep running. They are a testament to durability, and they're the reason why this homestead exists. Wood chips are great for our chicken run, but let me know in the comments what else we should use it for. Now there are some things I can't throw into the chipper, but don't worry, I have a use for this too. I'm going to burn it. I'm gonna turn it into heat. That's because in the winter, we solely heat our tiny home with the wood stove. And that's why it's important to have lots of fuel. That huge ice storm took down some of the trees, not the ones I would have dropped, but I'll still use them. And this is where I make the magic happen. I used a ton of the shavings for a nice firm base so that I can work on cutting and splitting. There is nothing worse than splitting wood by hand, and that's why we've had this champion splitter for a very long time. This splitter has gone through countless bush cords of wood over the past 15 years. She's all reliable. This is the first time she's gonna get started this year, and watch this. Crazy. This unit has saved me from a ton of back pain. Not only that, but she can handle the big boy logs. My wife Logan and I actually really appreciate this machine, not only because it makes all of our heat for our home in the winter, but because there's something super therapeutic about splitting wood for hours on end. It actually doesn't get old. Its reliability and independence is really important for us as well, because as I mentioned, we've had it for over 15 years and it just works every single time. I've never had to do anything other than top up the hydraulic oil. And it keeps us self-sufficient and saves us money. Last year, I actually ordered a couple bush cord of wood to have nice dry wood in the house. The problem was the guy never showed up when he was supposed to. And after I called him, he said, oh, I'll be there next month or next week. And he never showed up after that. So even though someone was flaky and never showed up with the fuel to heat our house, I had wood available. It was wetter than it should have been, but we were still able to burn all winter long to make sure we were warm. And that's a big deal. When you want to be self-sufficient, it's important to have the right tools that will be reliable and actually save you money. We saved over $900 because I split it ourselves. We only spent $50 on fuel to make sure to cut those trees down and split them with the splitter. That's a big win. That was a huge lesson in self-sufficiency and showed that having the right tools means you can get through a problem like not having enough heat for your home. And speaking of self-sufficiency, we lived off-grid for 5 years, and I'll share with you the tool that made that happen. When you hear the words off-grid, you're most likely thinking that the most important power source is solar. But in reality, solar is only the half of it. In fact, our champion generator was the most important tool we had for off-grid. The reason is when you're off-grid, you use a lot more power than you think you'll use. And in the winter time, the sun hardly shines, doesn't give you enough yield, and a lot of the solar panels need to be cleared off from their snow. So we used our champion generator to supplement that power. Every week or 2 weeks, we would recharge our batteries with our generator in just a little amount of time. It would produce enough power, it could just recharge it all. Even though we've since moved onto the grid for our tiny home, we still use our generator a lot as backup. Where we live means that we go out of power a lot, the grid goes down, and this past winter alone, we used that generator 6 separate times. One of them being over 2 weeks without power during that ice storm. So when the power goes out, all I have to do is select gasoline. We'll get to why that's unique in just a second. Put the choke on and start it up. Easy. Then I just plug in the tiny home. That means that even on a hot day like this, our refrigerator is still running, our lights work, most importantly, our air conditioner works, as well as all the essentials like our well pump, our hot water heater, and much more. I actually made a short pushing that generator to the limit, trying to power every single thing in the tiny home all at once. I won't spoil it for you, but I'm really impressed by it, so check that out after this video. Fans of the channel will know that we actually upgraded to this generator from our previous one. Our old one still works great, but I've plans for it elsewhere, and I wanted this one for 3 main reasons. First off, this unit is so quiet, and that's a big deal when you're running it for a long while. You notice it actually has 4 sides enclosed, which allows it to be so much quieter, and trust me, it's noticeable. Second, it's more fuel efficient thanks to its eco mode. And third, the unit is actually dual fuel, which means I can run it on gasoline, or if I want to, I can easily swap over to propane just with the turn of a switch. This was really important for self-sufficiency because when we had that 2-week ice storm, people were using the generators so much, gas stations were closed down because they had no fuel left. That meant when we didn't have any gasoline left to run in our unit, I just grabbed a bottle of propane that we have laying around and I was able to keep going. If there's one thing we've learned about homesteading, it's that self-sufficiency to any degree is paramount. With an example like the ice storm, it was really important that we had the tools we needed to be able to get through it, whether it was cleaning up to get down of our driveway, to continuing to have a fuel source just in case we needed it because we had no idea when the power was coming back. And speaking of power, to make sure we can continue to run our refrigerator and keep the water flowing. Lucky for us, we found Champion early on in our homesteading, which is the difference between making it or breaking it. And it's important for me to share with you guys the products and especially the brands that I trust, because if we can all do that, we're all gonna do better. Thank you so much for watching today's video. If you haven't yet given the video a thumbs up, make sure you do that. It really helps get the video out to people who need to see it, who are maybe on their homesteading journey and need to know what products are gonna work best for them. Also, if you haven't yet subscribed, hopefully I earned your subscription. Great seeing you. Until the next video, I'll see you then.